Let's get some to reaction to all of this now from Jaspreet Singh. He's from the International Sikh Students Association, which is based in Toronto. Jaspreet, thanks so much for joining us on the
Yeah, thanks for
program.
having me.
Do you understand why the minister is putting a cap on international students coming in because of the impact they're having on areas like housing?
So the thing is, right now, I was in conversation with many students, and they all have the same feeling that students are being used as scapegoat in the housing crisis. It's not international students; those were causing the housing crisis. But the right now, all of these new announcements are being presented as a solution to the housing, and so they're just the students just have a feel that they are just being thrown under the bus. But otherwise, in terms of integrity of the system and also to stop the exploitation of international students that was happening here in Canada, these are actually welcoming steps, but these are just not steps to cure housing crisis.
Okay, so you think there's a sort of confusion between the two issues. Do you think, I mean, I spend a lot of time in India and a lot of Indian students come to Canada. When they hear about these cuts, do you think it sends a signal to international students to some extent that they're not welcome in Canada?
Yeah, but right now, the students are very concerned, and actually, the when the announcement came up, most likely the students who are planning to come to Canada will be sleeping at that time, and when they will, get up, most likely they're gonna hear this very disturbing news, which is actually disturbing for them. But thinking about the whole situation in a Canadian perspective, the students were actually getting exploited by these institutions and the employers. Basically, each and everyone in the system was exploiting those students, and
In what way, when you
the
say they were being exploited, are you talking about universities that really are not up to the academic standards that they should be, which were taking on some of
basically
these
basic
students?
Yeah, basically everything. So these institutions, most of them are public-private partnerships and just opened up to just milk money out of these students. Majority of students graduating from these courses after spending lifetime savings of their families on their education. Most of the time, they're not even able to
So,
get a job in the
yeah.
field.
So should the government not just have shut down those institutions?
So basically, after September, there will be no work permits of the students graduating from these courses. So that means the students won't be going into those institutions, and those will be shutting down eventually in the future. But the students who are still willing to come to the real public institutions, those have reputation, they are still welcome, and they will be getting the work permits and everything the way it is supposed to be. But basically, this is a crackdown on those public-private institutions, those
Yeah.
plaza campuses.
Can I ask you about the housing crisis? You're there in Toronto. How much are rents going up in a city like Toronto at the moment? It is a huge problem, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% it is. So I came here back in 2015. At that time, the rent for a two-bedroom basement apartment was close to $1,000, and right now it's about $2,000. So it's almost more than double. And the fact that the students were also suffering from this situation. For example, the agents in India, the consultants, they will
Mm.
tell students that if you go to Canada, you just need to pay $400 or $500 per month as a rent. But when they came here, the reality is actually different. They
Yeah.
have to pay double, and now blaming them for the housing crisis. And then there's one other thing I want to clear out. Is
Jasper, we're running out of time here, so
okay, all right.
I'm going to say to you, thank you very much for joining us on the program. I think you've highlighted there some of the problems that students face when it comes to housing when they move to Canada.